All right, updating a section is also very easy. It's very much like creating a section, except we are passing the section through to that function and then doing the update in the database. So here we just say section equals, we already created an action. So update section action, and we run that. It also takes the data, which is the section data that we want to update, and the section item that we need to update. And once that's done, we simply return section resource make of the section that we just updated. Okay. So over here in the update function, it's going to take the section data, the core section data, and it's going to take the section itself. And as we've done before, we need to return tab. Again, when you use tab in an update, it returns the actual updated record and not just the Boolean of true or false, whether the update was done or not. So we are passing that through a tab or piping it through tab and do an update. And all we need is the title. If you added description or whatever, you can do it there, but the only thing we have is the title. And that's all we need to do for updating a section. So over in Postman, we can test this because we already have a section created, and we can test the update for a section by going there, putting the ID of the section we want to test and the ID of the course that the section belongs to. This is very important because we already included here in our model that we are scoping all our bindings. If we go back to the API routes file, remember that we wrapped everything here in scoped bindings. So the ID that we provide here for the section, the ID that we provide here, Laravel will automatically only search for courses that are related to this course that we pass in this parameter. So if you put a different course ID here, it should tell you that we can't find that course and the update will fail. Okay. So let's try that. In fact, let's do an update of this record with the body that says edited, and we'll send that request. That record is updated with the new response, introductions edited, and that's exactly what we want. But if for any reason we try to provide a different course ID that is not the course ID for that section, let's just take, let's say this ID, which is different from the actual ID for that section, and we try to update this, you will see a response that says no query results for model, because Laravel is trying to do a scope binding to only search for sections that belong to that course. One thing, while we are here, we can see that this error message is not really coming back in a useful way that we can handle in a JSON response. It's just an exception that is being thrown from Laravel, and I want to customize this to return something meaningful that someone using the application can actually get the real problem in a JSON response and display it to a user in the front end. So to customize how we receive these exceptions, you can go to app exceptions and the handler method here. And that's basically where we are going to change how we handle different kinds of exceptions. Okay. So in this case, the exception we got is called not found HTTP exception. So over here in the register method of our handler, I'm going to override some of the methods that we use to render these error messages for different exception types. So let's comment that out and start with the error that we just received here, which is a not found HTTP exception. So here I'm just going to say this renderable function, and this function will take the type of exception that we want to check for to see if we should customize the response that goes to the user. Okay, so in this case, this error is called not found HTTP exception, And in some cases, you can also get this in another error message called the model not found exception. And that is going to be the exception type. And then the request that we send through. And here we can customize how the response should look like. So by returning a response here, that is a JSON, we can provide a message and just say what we want. In this case, the message was no query results for the model, okay? So in this case, I can just say resource not found in the database. This means what we just did here, we are simply saying that if we get this exception, an exception of this type or of this type, the response that we get in the front end should be this, and no longer just something that we cannot handle in a meaningful way in the front end. So with that specified, I can go back here and try to send this request again, which should fail because we are passing the wrong course ID here. And if I send that request, again, it fails. But this time, of course, we didn't provide a response code. So here it should be 404 because the record is not found. And if we do that again, it returns a 404 not found exception. But the message that we get back now is reasonable enough for us to handle in a JSON response and display to the user in the front end. So I'll go back here and simply put the course that actually works or that this section belongs to, send that request, and it should work just fine.